Hello friends, now let's start with another new topic which is based upon the packages and interfaces along with jar files. Now let's start working with the packages, and in the packages we see that we have already come across this in the core Java programming. So how we are trying to create the package is just make use of the line called as a package as the prefix to our program. Means towards the beginning of our program we need the package as a keyword and give the package name, then write the program completely. And whenever we want to import that, there are two ways to import that. So one is package1 dot star, which imports all the contents of the particular package, and if I want to have that particular dot class file, then I just make use of import package dot app. In this case we have the app as a class name and we are importing only one app. So when we want to run this program, we can just directly run it as package1 dot app, which is nothing but the output hello from Java. So similarly, when we want to create the sub packages, then we just separate the things by using package1 dot package2, and in this case inside the package1 we will be creating the sub package called as package2, and we are using the same program, and instead of using the import package1 dot star, I am making use of package2 dot star. Even we can use the package1 dot star also, even that is also applicable, but in some advanced IDEs it is not applicable. So for that reason we just make use of the dot star, this one separation, by making use of a star here. Then there is one more way where we use the particular class name, that is in this case we are using package2 dot app, which is nothing but the class name what we have given here. So similarly, when we want to create the interfaces, we just make use of the keyword called as interface. So a class can extend only to one class. As we know that Java doesn't support a multiple inheritance, so for that reason we simulate the Java programs for multiple inheritance by making use of interfaces. So we make use of the interfaces here. So here in this case we are trying to create something called as print em as an interface, and we can see here the interface called as print m is being written by using a keyword called as interface, and we are using a function called as print text inside this particular function, inside this particular interface. So in interfaces all the methods whatever we write are completely abstract in nature, that they don't have any implementation at all, so they are very simple to write. And one more important thing, when we are writing interfaces, we may also have some variables present inside that, but the variables have to be final variables and they have to have one default value given to it. So most of the times the interfaces what user creates, they don't have any user defined variables. Most of the times we see that in threads and everything we have the interfaces and everything, and that interfaces when we are using thread interfaces, we use runnable interface and we make use of the start, stop and so on for the thread methods, and these methods are implemented by the class which is using that particular interface. So in that runnable interface we do have some final variables which are given for the system oriented type of functionalities. So usually the interfaces are created for working with along with the systems when we use final variables, but normal interfaces when we are using, we usually go for working with only the methods. So here we have the interface printf, and the class public class implements interfaces. So here this is nothing but how we are trying to implement that interface. So let us implement that. So we are using class 1 implements printm, then print void print text, then I am using system.out.println hello from Java. So this will be directly giving our output in the form of hello from Java. So this is how we are going to write the class, and this is the implementation of this particular interface called as printf. So this part is how we are going to call it, and this phase is how we are going to implement it. So this is the syntax and this is how we are going to implement it. Then next, when we want to implement any interface partially, when we don't want to use methods present inside the interface inside our class, then we can make the classes abstract. So we do come across abstract classes where when we are trying to implement the methods present inside the abstract class, it is not necessary that we need to implement all the methods present inside the abstract classes. But in case of interfaces, we need to implement all the methods present inside the interface. So for that reason, we make use of the classes abstract when we want to implement the interface partially. So interfaces can also be used as callbacks. So callback interfaces are usually used for event handling mechanism. So a callback is a technique wherein an object lets another object know that the second object should call one of the first object's methods whenever a certain event happens. Something like whenever we are using event source, then the event source, there is some disturbance inside that, the event is being generated and the event generated calls to the event listener. So in this way the interfaces will act. Now let us see one example where we are making use of event handling. So here we have a public class called as ticking, and here we are having a main function. Inside that we are using timer, then we are using tm, then we are using a new timer and so on. 100, 1000, then new ticker. So this is the object creation for tm. Then we are using tm.start and we are using goption pane to show the message dialog box. You wish to exit now, then fine, click OK. So this is just going to display the dialog box for you wish to exit now, fine, click OK. So this is nothing but the event handling mechanism here. So let us have the ticker here, and inside this ticker we are using private boolean tick equals to true, and this is the action what we are trying to use. Here the ticker acts as the event object and this ticking acts as the event listener. So action listener here implements action listener is there. So as soon as we use the action listener, then we are going to call the method that is ticking. So if there is tick, then we print ding or else we print dong. So here it just depends upon the clicking. So here we are making use of the ticker class which works on the action listener. So this is something about the callback interfaces. Now next let's come to jar files. So jar files are nothing but Java archive files. They will be in the form of zip format and they will be used by default by almost all of our Java programs. So how to create a jar file? We have a option called as jar for working with the jar files. It is a command and here this is the syntax. We use jar which is in the lowercase, then options like C, D and so on, then manifest file and the destination input file, and if I want any additional input files I just use the input files here. Then C for creation of a new empty archive file, T for listing the things in the form of a table, X for extracting the contents inside the jar file, F for specifies a jar file to work with, V for writing the verbose whenever we have a standard error, then M for writing the manifest file, then O for writing the store only type of jar files, then M for manifest file should not be created for the entries, then U for updation of the existing jar file, and a capital C for changing the directories during the execution of the jar command. Now let us see some of the examples. Now jar uf jar file dot jar minus c classes. So this command would add all files within the classes directory but not the classes directory itself to jar file dot jar. So u means update, f means file, jar file dot jar. So I am updating jar file dot jar with the minus c. What is minus c? Minus c is changes the directory during the execution of the jar command. So it changes the directory here. but in this case we have not specified anything, so it doesn't change anything inside the jar file.jar. So similarly we have something called as jar cf, which creates a new jar file with the dot class files present inside that. So this will create a default manifest file in the form of manifest.mf in this particular folder called as meta-inf manifest.mf. Similarly we have one more command where jar cmf, c for create, m for manifest and f for file, manifest.mft is being created and jar file.jar start.class. So with -m option we are trying to work with the existing manifest file. If the manifest file is not existing, then we are updating or creating the manifest file. So create file for manifest, jar file.jar manifest.mft. This is going to create a manifest file. So after creating the manifest file, we need to combine them together. So what I do is, here I have used dot class, here I have used dot class, here I use dot star, which combines or packs all the things inside the jar file called as jar file.jar. Then to retrieve the contents from the jar file, we use tf, which will give us the output something like this meta-inf. Let us imagine that there are applet.class, jpanel.class and so on. Then we can extract the things by using xf, which will extract all the files from the jar file, xf jar file.jar, and if I give the dot class name, then it will extract only this particular dot class file. If I want to update any jar file, then I just make use of uf jar file.jar. Then if I want to update the jar file with class1.class, then I just give the name as class1.class with the uf. So how we are making use of the jar files? Jar files are used by making use of import statement. Let us say if I want to import the servlets, then we use java x.servlet.star. So what happens there? We are just trying to make use of the servlet.jar as the package which is being used as the jar file. Sometimes we also want to have a particular class, then we just give the dot class file name in the form of jar file name, then dot class name dot class. So in this way we can give the dot class file name. Similarly, we can have sub packages inside the jar file. So then we go for jar file dot package name, then class name dot class. So in this way we can use the jar files. So this is the discussion about the packages, interfaces and jar files inside our Java programming language. So these things come very handy whenever we are trying to work with the enterprise applications of Java. Thank you.